After Snapchatting, a kid knocked down some stuff with a soccer ball. The boy's father confronts this teen over it. He deletes the Snapchat, but the father wants the police called. He tries to run, but the father grabs his waist and tells him he's not going anywhere.
I'm not filming your kid.
You're not leaving anywhere.
He's holding me up against the bikes. Hey, sir in the red hat.
Yes, sir.
Hey, can you come back, please?
Yes, sir. Call him. Call him. Call him. Nobody's touching you.
You hold me up
you're
against the
trying to walk
bikes.
off. You're going to cuss me out and film my...
The guy recording is obviously frightened at this point and tries to leave multiple times, but is always grabbed and stopped by the father. An officer eventually arrives, and after hearing what happened, he says what the teen did isn't against the law and tells him to take off.
So I am going to ask you to leave, and if something's on there, I ask you. I'm not telling you, please delete it.
Yes, no, it's gone. I promise you it's
All right,
gone.
get out of here. Leave the store. Whatever y'all got to do.
I think it's understandable that this father didn't want his son being recorded, but he handled the situation in a way that made this encounter way worse for everyone involved. This footage is terrifying to any cyclist on the road. Published in April of 2022, Cycling Mikey writes, "The footage was given to me by a subscriber who asked me to make the video available. In case anyone knows this man and is willing to give his details, he had videoed the driver using his mobile phone, and the driver took exception to that." Captured at around 10:30 p.m. in July of 2021, the footage shows a cyclist riding as fast as he can from the car in question. He is calling out to any passers-by to call the police.
Help me! Call the police! Call the police! Help me! Help me!
The car is clearly chasing him. It even drives up on the sidewalk at one point as the cyclist tries to escape. The cyclist luckily eventually loses the driver, pulls into a driveway and drops his bike to the ground. Commenters call this outrageous and criminal behavior, while at least one commenter was able to capture the license plate number. Was it enough to find the culprit, or does he have dodgy plates? Sadly, I was never able to find out. Move over, Cujo. This real-life pet cemetery is even scarier than the book. Posted to YouTuber by Adventures with Christian in October of 2018. The uploader provides a bit of historical background to the scene of this haunting video. According to him, this unofficial pet cemetery in Boulder City is the most haunted in the world. Why? He writes, "Many people claim that there are mafia victims secretly buried there, other than the names on the headstones, which may have faded away. There is no record of the animals buried there." The YouTuber visits the pet cemetery at night, when it's at its creepiest. At the entrance is a sign noting that pet burials are prohibited there. According to him, the pet cemetery opened in 1931, located 20 miles from Vegas. It's potentially a mobster's paradise. In the 25-minute video, Christian explores the graveyard, looking for all elusive ghosts of animals and people alike. About 20 minutes in, he comes across a dugout grave. You can see the corner of a wooden coffin inside. About 22 minutes in, he hears something in the cemetery, although what it is isn't caught on camera.
What in the world? What? Jeez. Oh my god. Oh my god. What in the world? Oh. Okay, that's it. Oh my gosh, that's it. I'm done.
He says he's done and hightails it out of there. The camera then captures a hooded man walking past, right in the line of the flashlight, prompting him to really hurry. It's later revealed that the cameraman was just a character, but that doesn't make this place any less creepy. Currently, pets are laid to rest in this cemetery, including that of the famous film star dog Rin Tin Tin. If you'd like to lay flowers on his grave, this video is a cautionary tale. Don't do it at night. A fire erupted at St. Anthony's School in Octono Falls, Wisconsin on February 21st, 2012, damaging the interior beyond recognition. At the time, the school had 42 students. Portions of the exterior of the 55-year-old school were visibly damaged. while a layer of soot and ash coated the attached St. Anthony Church. Father Joel Sember said that the parish was taking the fire very personally. In his words, "This is part of their family, it's part of their community, and so they are taking this as if it happened to their home." While the fire was certainly devastating, the school was empty at the time, so at least no one was harmed. Father Sember noted that the fire could have been far more destructive had the fire department not been so efficient. The fire is believed to have been intentional, although it's unclear if they ever found the culprit. A tropical storm has passed through here, and aside from causing a messy yard, this family seems to have been largely spared from the bad weather, or so they think. Luckily, everyone is alright, and fortunately the tree didn't go through their house. So if you live near the woods and have a serious storm pass through, remember, this scary CCTV video is exactly why you wait until it's dry before going outside. A YouTuber named Daniel finds a graveyard that is different than most others. It is in a bad state of disrepair, but beyond that, some of the graves are just plain missing.
Doesn't look like it's 6 feet deep either.
The graves could have simply been relocated, but if that were the case, then I think that the grave sites would have been filled back in. For some reason though, this graveyard has perfectly dug up graves with absolutely no evidence of a burial. There's no casket and no headstone. It's not like these plots were recently dug for a future burial either. Vegetation is slowly creeping back over them, and they are covered with a light bed of dry leaves. Whatever the explanation for the absence of these graves, one thing is for sure, clearly a lot of time has passed since they've been uncovered. A very similar sounding shriek to the so-called cougar. This one claims the sound is coming from none other than a monster from traditional Latin America folklore known as La Llorona. According to legend, La Llorona was the unloved mother of her 2 sons. Her husband loved his sons more than her, and also had an affair with another woman, causing La Llorona to break. She is said to have taken the lives of her 2 boys in a river in a rage, following them in grief by taking her own alongside their bodies. Now she wanders the earth in search of the souls of her sons. The terrifying wailing of her grief is heard throughout Latin America. Those who hear her cries are said to face misfortune or even have their lives taken. So maybe just to be on the safe side, turn down the volume for this one. Published to YouTube in September of 2018, the horrifying demonic scream at the start of the video definitely doesn't sound human. In fact, it makes you want to urge whoever is filming to get someplace safe, fast. Instead, he films outside on the rain-filled streets at night as La Llorona screeches demonically in an animalistic cry. Shortly after, a more human-like woman's weeping is heard. The man approaches the phantom voice in the darkness. It's difficult to make out a figure in all this, but he speaks to her, and she responds, which makes one think this is a real human woman making these sounds, not La Llorona after all.
¿Tienes dulce?
Mi esposa.
¿Tu esposa?
After a while of the man chatting back and forth with her, and then answering his radio, the woman falls silent. Barry in the comments says, "I understand Spanish. She seems to have multiple personalities. Was that inhuman sound made by a human person? Someone with multiple personalities? Perhaps someone possessed? Or is this La Llorona in the flesh?" This pair of Russian men took the lives of some of the most vulnerable amongst us, the homeless, and they did it so cruelly that they thought it was best to film their evil. The young men used hammers and knives, taking the lives of 6 homeless people in November of 2010. They ranged from the age of 12 to 69. One of the young men's uncle discovered the video on his nephew's camera, and the pair were subsequently arrested and charged for their actions in April of 2013. One was given 24 years and the other was sentenced to life. Neither sentence seems long enough. This video comes from the haunted Farside Lounge in Colorado. A woman sitting in the bottom corner is the closest person to what you're about to see, and both her hands are full. And yet this remote seemingly moves all by itself. It's as if something is picking this up, moving it slightly, and putting it back down. Meanwhile, the drink next to it stays perfectly still. She even notices it at the very end. So this is one of those problems that is either completely spontaneous or where everyone is in on it and plays along. The problem is I don't know which. This clip was posted to the Chills Narrators subreddit by Scream Aim and Fire. When you're home alone and you start catching things moving out of the corner of your eye, you may begin to wonder whether you're really alone after all. Scream explains that, days before, she had noticed a bell hanging from the ceiling move slightly, but there was no breeze, and nothing else hanging in the room was moving. Thereafter, when she was home alone, she started to hear things, like people pacing the hallways. She turned on her camera after hearing something fall in the home, as she was determined to go and investigate. The Redditor notes that later, after rewatching the video, a couple orbs flew by. Even scarier, she writes, "I think I saw my mother-in-law's doll move too." Watch the video closely, and you'll see exactly what she's talking about. As she walks into her mother-in-law's room, the doll sitting on a chair against the back wall does appear to move its head ever so slightly. While the orbs captured throughout the video could very well be dust, it's hard to explain the doll's inexplicable movement. Does the Redditor have a Chucky situation on her hands? If so, she'd better flee before the gloves come off. A YouTuber named CJ Powers eagerly records the final stages of a drone project he and his group have been working on together. They are just about to fire it up when his friend Christian makes a nervous joke about the drone coming to life and attacking.
It's gonna go rogue and it's gonna kill her.
Roughly 2 minutes later, his joke becomes prophecy.
Smile at the camera.
Watch again and you'll see the sharp propeller swing towards Christian's face and neck at a high rate of speed. The loud motor gives Christian just enough of a heads up to barely move out of the way. They all laugh about it later, but look again and you'll see how close the drone was from slicing something vital and taking his life. A fire to warm the darkness isn't always a good thing. Posted on TikTok by official GPT and Instagram by GPT official. This clip was captured during the Ghost Panic team's live stream. The footage shows a man shouting into the wilderness. At first, you don't know what's going on as he spins around, but after a time, you see a figure perched in a nearby tree. The figure blends in with its surroundings until it lowers its arms. Then you can distinctly see its face, hair, and body as it remains perched on its limb. As the man talks to it, the figure stands up. Then inexplicably, a fire is lit at its feet. The cameraman quickly flees the scene. It's unclear what the figure was and how the fire was lit, but by the cameraman's panicked reaction, I have an idea that this figure was nothing less than evil. A YouTuber named Nosy is poking around an old abandoned home that is in rough shape. The place is crumbling on all sides and covered in debris. Some sections look like they could collapse at any minute, so he doesn't go too far inside. It's the middle of the day though, with plenty of natural light, so Nosy creeps around the outskirts and even dares to check out a few rooms for a better look. He's having a look through one of the more secure looking rooms on the bottom floor when apparently something notices his presence and starts rushing his way. Nosy wisely retreats out to the nearest exit and cuts his adventuring short for the day. The upstairs was not safe for him to explore. so it's doubtful that someone would live up there, though still possible, I suppose. Either way, the footsteps were clearly human and not from an animal, and Nosy was clearly all by himself throughout this video. Therefore, the only other explanation I can come up with, besides a homeless person, is an actual ghost. Whatever it is, Nosy says that he will go back to the house and solve the mystery once and for all. So be sure to check on his channel to see if he ever does. I hope he stays safe and I wish him the best of luck. A YouTuber named You Want Sun catches an eerie moment on live TV when this news anchor has a problem unlike any I've seen. She sounds normal the entire time, but she starts blinking excessively, followed by this.
Is reporting a record turnout at this point. Nevada and Nebraska are also showing that Democrats are getting a jump on early voting. In Washington, I'm Susan Roberts. Ron and Mary.
Pause. And then look.
I've seen videos where both eyes change into a creepy off color before, but I've never seen a video where one eye stays the same and one eye does whatever this is. Also, they cut away from her as soon as it happens, which makes You Want Sun wonder what exactly happened here. I think it's possible, but I'm not sure, so I'd like to get your thoughts. Was this a glitch or something way worse? A YouTuber named Talk to Trending records a ghost video in Tamil, India at a haunted fort. An extremely powerful spirit is said to reside here, and the ghost hunters can't resist the chance to explore the abandoned building for paranormal traces.
நான் என்னோட கேமராமேன்ட்ட போறேன். நான் இங்க தனியா நின்னுட்டு இருக்கேன். சுத்தி சத்தம் ஏதோ மூச்சு வாங்குதே.
As they talk more about the haunted place, a ghostly apparition materializes behind them. It looks to be in the shape of a person wearing robes from head to toe, and when it moves out of sight, the ghost hunter looks over his shoulder where it would have been. I think this could be his paranormal sixth sense kicking in to keep him safe, but this could also simply be the way his flashlight plays against the stone wall behind him. Although it's weird that it takes such a human-like shape, tell me what explanation you think is true. Ryan Layton records what he says is a full-bodied apparition jumping over the table in his apartment. At 2 minutes, there is a loud noise, and some kind of pale, ghost-like figure appears in front of the camera. But is it paranormal or something else is the question. The webcam is low quality and skipping frames, so this could simply be somebody shining a flashlight directly at it to create the illusion of a ghost. Let me know what you make of this video, because to me it's kind of hard to tell if this video is supernatural or nothing special. With a Ouija board in hand, a YouTuber named Contagious Noise takes her girlfriend and her sister to an old barn that's just beyond city limits. They are positive that this barn is very haunted and therefore the perfect place to contact the other side. The group laughs and carries on playfully at first, but it isn't long before the situation grows alarmingly serious. Tell me if it really looks like the pointer is moving all by itself here.
I'm my grandma, I'm not doing it. Garrett?
I swear on everything. I'm not. Look at my fingers.
Soon they contact the spirit of a 4-year-old who could possibly be named Ryan. They are trying to ask it more questions when out of nowhere it spells out the name Grace, which is the name of one of the girls. The spirit doesn't seem to want to give any real answers. Sometimes the Ouija board simply spells letters at random. Just when they get the feeling that a spirit is messing with them, a random noise confirms their suspicions.
Or ask who the 4-year-old was. Why they're here.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Each one of them promises that they are not playing a joke and they decide to try again. This time the Ouija board spells out a single word.
Help. Say goodbye.
two friends record a song on acoustic guitar, completely unaware of what lurks nearby. There is nothing behind them, but then a giant figure taller than the door itself peers at them through the glass. By the time the person who is singing leans forward and back, it's gone. When you zoom in, it almost looks like the head is completely detached from the body, or maybe it has a deep slash in the neck. Then again, since the alleged ghost doesn't appear to move at all, it could just be cheap editing. With that said, this was taken in 2007, so the video quality is actually very good for its time, and many think it could be real. In Mexico, a security guard was making his rounds at a store when he captured these paranormal manifestations on camera. First, he sees this spooky cart playing mind games.
Cabrón. Ahí está la primera cosa. No mames, no mames.
He later enters what appears to be a storage room, and the mannequins attack.
Así normalmente es. Casi toda la basura es de aquí, de Soriana. Todo lo que te... No mames.
He continues his tour when a scary Santa starts to dance.
Hola amigo, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? No vengo a molestarte. A ver, vamos a acercarnos poquito. No, si me da quiz.
Well, this one is clearly automated. What triggered it? The guard leaves the room and returns, and again Santa comes to life and then jumps ship.
No manches. Oh. Ay, qué pedo, no manches.
What do you make of this creepy series of events? In my opinion, while the automated Santa may have just been malfunctioning, the shopping cart and mannequin are harder to dismiss. Did you ever pull an all-nighter in a haunted house? Paranormal investigators Dennis and Tim pair up as Nerve Paranormal to spend the night in this haunted place. They set up cameras and a tape recorder inside. First, a shadow in the corner is seen.
Стояла будто бы тень вот так в углу. Да? Я тебе что хочу сказать-то? Смотри. Смотри. Я эту фигню закрывал.
Once they have the cameras positioned, they go to sleep.
Ну все, в принципе. Только заснуть. Положиться. Я не знаю, после этого все.
Something immediately messes with their camera. And then their lights. Another camera captures something entering their room. You're probably asking yourself, how could they sleep through all that racket? Well, they won't sleep through this. There's nothing inside, but there definitely is, and I think Dennis and Tim won't be getting any more sleep tonight. A YouTuber named Dagger Production is playing the remastered Call of Duty when he hears someone messing with the entrance to his house. According to Dagger Productions, this is the exact moment the encounter began. Listen closely to this part and you'll hear what sounds like the front door slamming as the person runs away. It sounds like the door slams from the other side of the house, but Dagger Productions returns to his room a second later. He wouldn't be able to slam the far door and get back to the camera that fast if he was just making this up. This solo ghost hunt turned up some mysterious proofs, published by Make You Right in February of 2022. The Ghost Hunter scary video has the trifecta, mist, orbs, and voices. While walking along a dirt path at night in the forest, a strange mist moves in. It's the unusual shape and movement of the mist that makes it so eerie, like a spirit is swooping in. A round orb seems to be flying below it in tandem. The YouTuber says he didn't see it at the time he was filming.
I didn't see that at the time on the camera at all, but it does go by fast.
A second video filmed on the same night appears to have captured a disembodied voice. The voice murmurs, and this time the YouTuber hears it in the moment.
I have to look that back on the camera.
It does not sound like his voice, so whose is it? What do you make of this pair of videos? Looks like a successful ghost hunt requiring further investigation. Something lives in the dark corners of this abandoned Catholic school. Published by Exploring with Big D in January of 2022, a paranormal team is exploring the school when they hear something unholy. Listen closely at the very beginning of the video. You'll hear an animalistic growl. It sounds like it's coming from the belly of the beast. The guys don't seem to notice it as they're filming, but they certainly did after reviewing the footage. After seeing how empty this school appears, where do you think this mysterious growl came from? It appears for now the answer to this question will remain a mystery. A YouTuber named JMX decides to push himself to his absolute limits by taking one of the most extreme YouTube challenges yet.
What are we going to be doing? We're going to be not drinking water for 48 hours.
To be clear, this challenge includes not just abstaining from liquids, but also from any food products with water in them as well. Things are going okay at first, but after about 20 hours into the challenge, his thirst starts to get the better of him. JMX's voice becomes scratchy and his lips grow white and chapped. He said he feels confused and not like himself at all, and there are still more than 24 hours to go.
4 hours to go till we're halfway, so we're 20 hours down, and yeah, still kind of feel like, to be honest, I want to drink so bad.
By the second day, he comes down with a bad cold and feels completely terrible. He does not look or sound like the same person we saw at the beginning of the video. Watch this part and tell me if you agree.
Okay, we're about 3 hours away now. I honestly just want to drink something.
By hour 46, he feels like he might be in serious trouble, but he refuses to give up this far in. A friend makes him book a doctor's appointment, and JMX tries to finish the last 2 hours of the challenge under medical supervision. The doctors eventually force him to take in fluids through a needle before the 48 hours are up. JMX thinks that being given fluids through a needle does not count as breaking the challenge. Either way, I'm glad he experienced no long-lasting effects from this experiment. YouTuber Nick Soderegger, also known as Sunspec, ran his channel for years, with it gaining some attention in 2014 for his dance videos. Sadly, in September 2018, he disappeared after hearing a woman screaming at 2:30 in the morning outside his residence. If that wasn't strange enough, since that day, he has never been seen again, and the mystery surrounding what happens remains unsolved. His family has set up a website which will be linked in the description, with a $10,000 reward for information leading to his whereabouts. Published by Scott Walters in February of 2015. This video again shows that drones over common land or private property are an annoyance to most and a threat to others. Walters explains the precursor to the man's anger in his description. Guy started yelling at me, asked if I had a permit to fly at a kid's park. I asked if he was joking. He said he wasn't, so I told him I needed to land. This is where the video started. After asking again if the operator has a permit to be on a children's playground, the man pushes the drone out of his face. He and the operator exchange words, with the operator telling the man to mind his own business.
Don't touch my stuff. Do you have a permit to be on a children's playground? You don't need one. Get out of my face. You're the one who got in my face, dude. You're in front of my shit. Look, we just walked over. I understand. Mind your own business. Don't come question anybody about their stuff.
And the man stating that they're on public property. The argument quickly escalates as anger takes hold. Even as the man turns to leave with his child, the operator continues to shout at him. Those on the aggressive man's side, like Demo Man, said rightly that the drone operator could be liable if his aircraft fell down or flew into a child's head, and others noted that the man was leaving, while the drone operator continued to yell and provoke. Those on the operator's side, like Eric Mendez, said that no one is entitled to privacy in the public domain, while others noted that drone operators are often attacked for something that's just a hobby. Whose side are you on? The Shadows Are Coming For You, published by ILM and Bono Paranormal in July of 2021. This creepy clip shows you are never as alone as you think. A man is walking through an abandoned building and his camera scans the room. Look carefully in the window pane. A shadow figure passes by, outlined against the glass. It's unclear if the figure is outside walking past or inside being reflected, but all I do know is the cameraman has company. If I were him, I'd be getting out of there ASAP. Two friends look out the window and see a mysterious figure dressed in all white, roaming the graveyard without shoes. She has her head down and pays absolutely no attention to them, even as they call out to her.
Hey, what you doing, girl? Yo, that is creepy as... What the What happened? What the is she doing? Why is she touching other people's graves?
Finally, she starts to walk towards them, and they quiet down. One of the friends quickly points out that now she knows where they live. He screams out the window that she's scaring him, and she walks away, still completely lost in her own world. Here's where things get even more weird. She heads to the back of the graveyard, spins around a few times, and then disappears behind a tall gravestone.
I'm holding this camera until she come out from behind that tombstone. Yo, she's not coming back. She's gone. Where the did she go? We watched her walk behind the tombstone and she's gone.
They think that she has vanished, but I think she could have just been sitting down on the other side. The two friends say that they kept filming for a long time and never saw her again, so maybe she really did disappear. Still, it's hard to tell if this was a genuine spirit or just someone with a morbid attraction to graveyards. A YouTuber named the Spyro Gamer has a mysterious problem with his PS4 controller that I don't think is covered by the warranty. The unexplained video begins with him turning the controller on, and the light on the top remains solid like normal, but whenever he passes by this area of his room...
Is in my cabeza if I go over here. There, look, see? See? See that?
The controller flashes in a mysterious way and then turns off. No matter what he does, the controller refuses to stay on in the closet. Keep in mind it was able to stay on normally when he was on his bed, so the controller appears to be set up properly and not broken. The unexplained video starts to make a little more sense when you consider ghosts supposedly can disrupt electronic equipment, and that's when the ghost stops trying to hide.
I think it's gone. Yeah. Oh.
He feels something walk by, the controller turns off, and then the door slams. Freaky, right? If you like to scrounge for snacks at night, this video will have you second guessing that midnight snack. Posted to Reddit by Better Than Better, the home security footage reveals a dark and seemingly empty kitchen at night. Around 30 seconds in, a man trudges in and opens the fridge to get a snack. While the man is standing at the fridge, drinking something, watch the teddy bear on the kitchen table. It starts moving ever so slightly, bobbing up and down, but that's not all. When the man closes the fridge and turns to leave, the baby walker next to the table does this, confused about whether he saw what he thinks he saw. The man doesn't take his eyes off the baby walker as he leaves the room, but he returns a short time later, his wife by his side, presumably to explain what happened. As he's indicating that the baby walker moved of its own accord, the teddy bear falls over, or rather seems to fly backwards, as the wife jumps out of the room and the man approaches the bear. Two of the chairs tucked under the table spring out simultaneously. If that isn't enough to scare you out of your own home, I don't know what is. I believe dealing with an incident like this is something 99% of people couldn't handle. This drone footage was taken somewhere deep in the Salt Fork Park in Ohio. The video starts out ordinarily enough, but then sometime around the 5-minute mark, you might be able to see something hiding in the thickets. Watch the left side of your screen closely as the drone starts to land, and pay close attention because it happens pretty fast. Many people claim they can see a large creature stop and look up as the drone passes by. Some even claim that this is a Bigfoot sighting in broad daylight. I do see what they are talking about, but I personally don't see any movement, and I think it could possibly be a tree. Let me know if you see it and if you agree. Donnie and Tony partner up to form a freaky ghost hunting channel called Daunton Paranormal. This time the pair are exploring a spooky cemetery known only as the Labyrinth. Exact location unknown. What they found in this haunted place is beyond words and without explanation. Watch the far doorway and you'll see it too. The thing that weirded them out for life.
I'm pulling.
As you can see, a tall figure blocks the top of the stairs. When they get too close, the peculiar shadow curiously disappears. After reviewing the evidence, Daunton Paranormal wonders if they've actually captured a real ghost on video. They didn't notice the creepy shadow until reviewing the tape much later. The shadow figure looks creepy and appears to have no natural source, at least not one from our side of this world. Tell me if you think this was a true sighting, and more importantly, if you would be brave enough to go up to that door and face whatever that was. I don't think I could ever return for a follow-up investigation, but I hope they do. When there's something angry in your home, it will make its presence known. Published to YouTube by Lainey and Ben in June of 2021, this short scary clip shows their haunted house in action yet again. Lainey is making breakfast and walks over to set the dishes on the table, but the moment she turns her back to the cupboard, it swings wide open and a bottle of ketchup is expelled from it. Lainey catches a glimpse of the paranormal activity, and although she still appears a bit shocked, it's clear she's seen this sort of stuff before. She simply calls out for Ben and then calmly leaves the kitchen.
Ben?
Is the spirit just reminding Lainey not to forget the ketchup, or is this a forewarning because a red liquid condiment seems a bit too on the nose? Tell us your theory. What is this poltergeist after? Tattooed Tony Alton goes exploring a hospital in East St. Louis, Illinois. That's beyond creepy. The hospital was abandoned sometime in the late 90s and has been standing undisturbed ever since. At 27 minutes and 21 seconds, they discover a door where the ground is damp and covered in sludge. The mysterious substance grows thicker on the other side, and you can hear Tony's protective boots slushing around in at least an inch of slimy muck. Only when he reaches the end of the hallway does he realize he's been exploring the hospital's morgue, which has been unrefrigerated for years. I don't want to know what was on that floor, but that's about as wrong as I've ever seen an urban exploration gone. Costa Rica is full of many beautiful sights. Under your pillow is not one of them.
Scorpion on my pillow.
Is it alive?
I'd say it's very much still alive. A gigantic stinger is curled high above at the ready. I don't know if he was sleeping under this terrifying creature all night, but I think he might have been. If so, he's really lucky he never fluffed the pillow. Seriously though, I really want to know what kind of scorpion this is, and how risky this event really was. The shadow hunters from Brazil go exploring the woods for an abandoned house haunted by an angry poltergeist. It's a long walk through darkness to find it, but when they do, they go sprinting up to its yellow walls to try and catch the poltergeist by surprise.
Vai por aí. Tem alguém aí?
They walk around the perimeter of the poltergeist house and find something else that leaves him extremely freaked out and regretting their decision to come here at night.
Tem nada aí não, mano. Tem alguém aí? Tem vela aqui também. Nossa, mano do céu.
On the ground are more candles and a sheet that was something strangely shaped underneath of it. Candles surround the object on all sides and give me a bad feeling that something has gone really wrong here. Whatever's been covered with a sheet is not moving and shows no signs of life. They go inside for a closer look but do not dare lift up the sheet and see what's inside. What do you think was under there? If the legends were true about this poltergeist being a summoner, then I think we all know the answer. They might have set this all up for a video, but I don't think so. He doesn't waste any time ending this video and calling the police. Voices are all around us. Will you be brave enough to fight when you encounter them? In this video, a man is standing in a dark alleyway when another man to his right appears. Figures also seem to be standing around him in the darkness, out of sight of the camera, as you can see vague flickers of movement. Suddenly, he's at the mercy of these figures. But the movement is not human, but like a hurricane force. He's thrown to the ground and the force disperses. Then the other full-figured man in the video grabs him, before heading back into the adjacent building. It's almost as if there's water on the ground. As the man tries to move, there's a ripple effect. Then he is dragged by his feet by the unknown force off camera. The rippling continues for a moment before going still, but the stillness is brief. When the other dude returns to the alleyway, looking upon the scene, he suddenly rushes back into the building as something huge is thrown in after him. It's not clear if it's a person, place, or thing. A moment later, a figure wearing a long black cape and a hat leaves the building. A window shatters beside it as the figure departs. What in the world is happening here? Any theories? I feel at a loss when coming up with a rational explanation for these happening. This dashcam video was supposedly taken near Hanoi, Vietnam, and was posted on Facebook where it spread to the local news. In it, the car soon pulls up to a figure dressed in all white standing in the middle of the road. The drivers are quite concerned that this individual is standing in the middle of a pitch black road, alone besides one street light above. They don't ask the person anything. Instead, they quickly drive away. While many online thought it was a ghost of some kind, news agencies have said that this was a woman who is not mentally well and was possibly attempting to take her own life. Let's hope she got the help she needed before it was too late. Warning, don't enter a dark and disturbing abandoned house at night. Posted by Car Records in 2010. The team is exploring an abandoned house at night when they zoom in on a corner of the room. In that dark corner, behind various obstructions, appears a creepy girl doll. The disturbing sight causes them to race from the room. Wouldn't you? I don't think they had any other choice. You gotta pay the troll toll. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor is wondering what's watching her son and nephew from under this bridge. She explains that the pair were night fishing. When her son told the person, animal, or monster to show itself, there was no reaction. The thing they capture from beneath the bridge appears to be peeking out from behind the wall. Some say it looks human, others think it's more demonic. But Redditor user unknown writes, what many are thinking, I wouldn't stick around to find out. Neither would they apparently, because according to the Redditor, the pair fled, but behind him they heard clicking noises and something bashing through the trees. Perhaps a troll after his hard-earned cash. That's not sludge you're looking at. Published by Casey Spotlight, a creepy sludge-like creature was captured on film in the shallows of a lake. The figure looks squidgy, mushy, rubbery, and above all slimy. Its form seems malleable. Its movements is like an amoeba, altering its shape. It also appears to have a mouth, but one with no teeth and only grandma gums. Well, some in the comments say it's a leech. If that's the case, it's the biggest leech I've ever seen. What do you think it is? Any theories? Ghost Hunters Bro Sham and iStudio team up for one of the scariest paranormal explorations in Indonesia. This time they're exploring a haunted hospital that gives them chills, literally.
So di depan saya memang hutan belukar.
He senses a drop in temperature. The camera goes out of focus. A shadow stretches out to him and then goes away. When he looks over, it's nowhere to be found. They spend a long time exploring the courtyard for more paranormal activity, but get no further signs. Inside, the hospital is being taken back by the rainforest one room at a time, but plenty of the place remains haunted.
Assalamualaikum.
The voice is coming from a room that has a drawing of a witch-like head on the wall. There's no other drawings anywhere else in the hospital, just here. Whatever drew this knew what was in here. As they leave this haunted place, they find this figure upright in the forest, face and body wrapped up in a single cloth, not making a single sound. I don't know if it's a ghost or one of them pretending to be a spirit, but it's creepy and they get out of there without getting any closer. Vadim Vadimich is a Russian YouTuber who often explores the radioactive remains of Chernobyl, an abandoned power plant that went into meltdown during the 1980s. On this journey, he and his friends find an abandoned daycare center that seems quite haunted. One of the first things they find are two dolls. One is headless and the other has poked-in eyes, shaded black all around, as if someone was pressing down aggressively hard as they scribbled. It's not a welcoming sign, but could just be the work of some edgy teens, or maybe even someone in their own group, so they press on. Across from the dolls is this picture of a Russian team all huddled around a strange object in the center. I don't know what this is in the middle, so someone help me out because it might be a clue. I assume this was a picture of the kids who used to come here before the meltdown. Who knows how many, if any, actually made it to adulthood due to the radioactive exposure. Immediately behind the photo is a creepy old picture of a Russian woman in full uniform crying. I don't understand the significance of this picture, but I feel like they are saying something important here, so translate this part from Russian to English if you can.
умирали, смотри, он в этом. Офигеть. Здесь уже люди сколько не были?
After a while, it becomes apparent that they are all being watched. These white eyes first appear on the other side of a window at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. I thought it was just his light until I realized the light is hitting his chest and shouldn't be visible behind him at all. And here at 3 minutes and 52 seconds, the eyes appear again in a doorway, much closer. It's just for a split second, but I mean, whose flashlight looks like that? Nobody's that I know. Those look like eyes for sure, glowing ones at that. They come across a portion of building they've explored before, but this time the door is partially opened, so they cautiously step inside. The first thing I noticed were these floating eyes at 7 minutes and 56 seconds. They look exactly the same size and shape as the ones before, but what they saw was the top of someone's head, someone incredibly tall and standing totally still. Standing motionless is a figure with a blacked out face and long white garbs. They run away and soon encounter it again. Its white clothes somewhat resemble the doll clothes we saw earlier. Could that have been a warning? When it gets close to them, it seems shorter than before, but impossibly broad-shouldered and powerful looking. I don't know why they let it get this close, but I guess they were frozen in place from fear and tired from running. I hope this was just a mannequin or something, but when it does this, I know it's far from a prop.
Да, Вадим, уйди назад.
The group retreats back inside, and now cornered eventually resorts to smashing through a window and takes a risk climbing through broken glass just to get away from whatever they just saw. So I think it's real. A terrible demon has set up shop in this house, and Dennis from Dark Ghost Paranormal is about to face its wrath. The demon first makes its presence known in the wardrobe. With his nerves on edge, Dennis asks the demon to reveal himself.
Ответь мне, кто ты?
Then things get real creepy. Moments later, the demon's face appears on Dennis's camera, after which this happens. The demon has definitely been released, and if I were Dennis, I'd be careful. It seems like this one means business. The Chernobyl power plant left this place covered in radiation in 1986. Only recently was a small part reopened for tourism in 2011. The rest is still too radiated and therefore off limits. Russian YouTuber Vlad Reznov wants to test these limits. He goes exploring the woods and finds an old abandoned cottage. That would be perfect for a 24-hour challenge. Night falls. Roving cliques are rumored to be out here. Families aggressively changed by radiation who don't like outsiders, and they know he's here. They can't get inside because he's tied the doorknob to the bedpost, so they can't go around the outside.
Не знаю, что мне делать. Просто... Не знаю.
Now is his chance. He opens the door while they are trying to get in through a window, not sure if there is more waiting for him inside, and expecting to get jumped around every corner. The bike is outside. He has to get to his bike. He makes it out of there, but there's an overall lack of urgency to this video that makes me think it could be fake. We don't ever get to see this mutant family, so it could be one of his friends opening the door. They probably found an abandoned house and thought it would be a good place for a scary video, but I guess we'll never know for sure. Following was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Urban Ghost Hunters 901 while filming B-roll in an abandoned church for a future overnight investigation. He caught something frightening on camera. One camera was in a fixed place, capturing a steady shot of a book set on a railing, surrounded by lit candles, while the cameraman was behind the other camera, filming the rest of the room. You can hear the book hit the ground loudly in both shots, while the steady cam captures its fall. Nothing visible pushed the book or caused it to fall to the floor. In the comments, Urban explains in more detail what happened. I was going to do a pan-up shot from the back of the church, and as I started to pan up, my camera blurred, as if it were trying to focus. Not saying it's paranormal because it was in low light, but as it blurred, and I was looking through the LCD display, I saw something fly right in front of me. Seems like something paranormal had arrived. When you play with the paranormal, you're bound to get burned. Think it's probably time to get out of there. A phantom drifts past, never to be seen or heard from again. Published by Tammy Jackson in December of 2019. This Ring camera footage captured something incredibly eerie in this person's yard. The footage shows a pale, full-bodied figure drifting across the yard. No features are discernible. It then appears to vanish. That's when the motion-activated lights on the garage are triggered. They shine brightly, casting light all across the yard, but there's nothing there. A house light also appears to be triggered, but still nothing else appears in the yard. Do ghosts trigger motion sensors? If not a ghost, who is this? I guess we'll never know for sure. A paranormal YouTube channel called Explore With Us goes ghost hunting after their subscribers told them to go back and investigate more at 3 a.m. The first time they saw mysterious lights, but this time they catch even more bizarre things on video. In the 1970s, a woman named Nan Dixon mysteriously disappeared somewhere around this unassuming Nevada countryside. It isn't long until they see what could be headlights, and the locals are not friendly, so it's time to get out quick. The strange lights mysteriously disappear soon enough, however, so maybe it really was just a passing car. As he drives up to one of the abandoned houses that the ghost of Nan Dixon is thought to haunt, he thinks they see a solid black ghost orb at 8 minutes, which would be beyond creepy to see, except I'm pretty sure it's just a smudge on their car windshield. With that said, I'm not sure what this strange 3 a.m. sighting could be, except for a phantom face slowly slinking away in the dark room. The battery to some of their camera equipment goes out after this strange sighting, and 2 mysterious lights are caught on tape as well, almost like spaced apart eyes under the shelf. Soon their paranormal equipment begins to flash with supernatural energy, and the mysterious lights return stronger than ever before. They see another strange and mysterious flash of light that cannot be explained, and even when they go exploring a different abandoned house that's driving distance away, strange paranormal lights seem to follow. You might want to rethink booking that Airbnb after seeing this scary video. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit by Lemonisa. The Redditor writes that spooky sounds during the first night in this rental home in Norway kept waking her and her partner. This prompted her to start recording. This is what she captured. In an upper slanted window facing the living room, a mysterious white anomaly appears. After a moment, the anomaly slowly fades away before completely vanishing. It's not clear if the figure is beyond the window looking in, or something inside the house is being reflected. Some in the comments think it looks extraterrestrial. Others say it looks like a face or hand pressed against the glass. The Redditor mentions in the comments that this house was haunted. She says that they'd be sitting in the living room and would hear random things fall from the counter and strange noises from the basement. She notes that this first night in the home was especially creepy. Would you have the courage to remain a second night in the house if you saw this in the window? I sure wouldn't. In this vlog, it's Justin Stewart, and guys, it's me, Andy, visit a mansion to go to a party. No one is there, so they sneak in. The mansion is huge with a bridge and a waterfall, 4 garages, a gym, a climbing rock wall, a sauna, and a library. It's insane. And finally, after exploring the house, they find a secret room. A door is camouflaged into one wall, but they spot that the bottom is raised a bit, and there's a clear mark that someone has pressed into the corner at some point. One of the crew presses on the door, and it opens into darkness. They hit the light switch and find a whole other room out of sight. The room beyond is slightly underwhelming compared to the rest of the house. The room is bare, no furniture, nothing on the walls. What the homeowners used it for is completely unknown. While it's a tad eerie to find a room completely hidden in this incredible mansion, you kind of wish there was more to it, although maybe there is, and we just don't know it yet. A flaming torch in the forest revealed this group was not alone. The uploader writes that these friends were having some drinks in the woods when 2 of the young women saw a mysterious creature watching them. In the clip, the group is enveloped in darkness. That is until one of them tosses a flaming torch toward a tree. It lights the brush at the base of the tree, and it also lights this creature hiding behind it. The extraterrestrial looking figure is crouched low at the stump of the tree, but its large cranium and eyes briefly appear. You can see it back away for a moment behind the tree, and then as the camera moves in closer, its hands extend long, spindly fingers. What is watching them? It looks like something out of this world. A YouTube explorer named Adventures with Josh tracks what he later describes as a strange creature sighted while exploring an abandoned house in the middle of some rather scary woods at night. The structure he finds is no bigger than a doghouse and is empty upon investigation, but when he turns around and looks up, he sees it, and it sees him.
What is it? That thing is freaky. Hello?
A mysterious creature with glowing white eyes stares down without a word. I know it's a creature and not someone wearing night vision goggles, because the glowing blank eyes blink multiple times.
I can't even tell what animal that is. It doesn't look like a possum.
A possum was my next guess, but apparently the eyes are too far apart for it to be one. The brow resembles a human more than an animal. I don't know what this strange creature sighting is, but it does seem to be waiting for him to leave, so it can go back to its creepy abandoned home in the middle of the woods. This tape was found under a bridge, somewhere in Russia. In it, a person is riding their bicycle while talking happily into the camera. If you speak Russian, please let me know what is being said here.
Всем привет. В общем, я сейчас нахожусь под...
Suddenly, their monologue is cut short by a shrill noise off camera.
Слышите? Чудо.
It sounds like he is asking who is there, when suddenly the answer comes rushing up to him.
Кто это?
His scream becomes scrambled and the camera fades away. If this video is real, then I can't help but notice how the mutant shriek sounds almost human. I wonder how close this video was to the infamous site of the Chernobyl meltdown. What's this strange light doing here? That's what Michael Oishi wants to know, and so far no one has been able to help him. I personally think this looks like a high-powered spotlight because I see a smaller light artifact that seems to generally correspond with its movements, indicating that this is actually part of a beam coming from the bottom of the screen. With that said, I wonder what's off camera casting this long creepy shadow. If you've ever been in a bug swarm of any kind, you'll know it can give you chills. This mayfly swarm is no different. In fact, it's practically nightmarish.
Oh my god!
When the mayflies took over this bridge in Iowa, snowplows were required to unblock the swarm buzzing in the bridge's path. In fact, the bridge had been so completely swarmed by the bugs that emergency crews were sent to the area. The nightmare scene turned into a scary situation after bikers tried to plow through the massive heap of mayflies but lost traction. Luckily, they escaped. The bridge's clearing was recorded by Tina Franzen as she rode along in her son's police car. Franzen said of the event, "I've lived in Sabula since '75. I've never seen that many before, ever." To clear the bugs over the following weeks, it was decided by the Iowa Department of Transportation to keep the streetlights off near the bridge as the lights attract the mayflies. Here's hoping it all worked out for Iowa. They don't need any more of this nightmare fuel. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.